We're on, dude. We're on.
We're live.
Topics are 5 businesses that you can make $3,000 to $5,000 part time. Dude, I've got a crazy
Oh,
one. You know about it. I got a crazy one. You know about it.
okay.
So, uh, my girlfriend Kristen a year ago started a charcuterie business, and dude, here's what she does. She buys those packaged boxes, like the pretty opening ones from Amazon. She will chop up fresh fruits, vegetables, cheeses, like little like ornamental cheeses, the shit you get from Whole Foods.
Right.
And then she'll decorate it in this nice way, put in flowers and maybe some honey. Dude, she's selling these boxes of cheese for like an average of $85 a box. Some boxes go for 120 to 150. She'll do tables or like spreads, small spreads for like 350, and she'll do what are called grazing tables for $700 to $1,500. So,
Whoa.
dude, all she spends money on at advertising is she takes fun, like fancy photos, really cute aesthetic, made an Instagram. She posts it in Facebook Marketplace, especially during events or holidays. So, like
hmm
February's coming up. So, instead of being a charcuterie box, she has a charcuterie bouquet, and it sends a bouquet. It's like a bouquet of cheeses and meats and cilantros and shit. And, bro, like, she does this part time as a teacher, like maybe a couple times a weekend at the most. And, like, with very little effort, she's probably doing like $600 to $1,000 a month. When she actually steps it up, like outside of teaching, like during summer, she's having months where she's like clearing $3,500. And bro, I'm telling you, like the amount of work that goes in, once you know where to get all the ingredients, that's the hardest
hmm
part. And you know how to make it cute, like so easy. Like so easy, dude. What do you think about that?
Dude, I like that's a really cool thing because I know that whenever people are hosting like special events, baby showers, or little like private birthday parties, stuff like that.
Mhm.
They want all those like cute little decorations and stuff, and then like cute little food trays and all of that. That's brilliant. And I'm sure like once you kind of figure out how to fold everything and how to place it, it's just
Yeah.
pretty easy to throw it all together.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, we have these special cups, like these glass cups that it's like
hmm
the perfect size and shape. She uses it to fold salami around and create like salami rose petals. I'm not allowed to use these cups because these are the salami rose petal folding cups, and I'm like, dude,
right.
how are you making like 3 to 4 grand profit? Just like fucking slinging cheese, dude. It's crazy. Good for her.
Just yeah, the meat dealer, you know?
Dude, the meat dealer.
The cheese dealer.
Yeah, dude.
You know?
I got your cheese and meats.
Yeah, we're coming in hot.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Um,
either pay up.
yeah. Dude, okay, so what's etiquette for eating off a charcuterie board? Because me and my
Okay.
Kristen, we both have
Right.
Kristens. My Kristen, so we're at this nice Italian restaurant and we're
Yeah,
hungry.
yeah.
We're sitting at the bar. We order a charcuterie board, right?
Mhm.
And we're sitting there and I just noticed that I caught both of us just kind of like being really delicate and picking one out and like
Yeah, yeah,
studying
yeah.
the cheese and trying to be all sophisticated about it. And
Yeah.
like in my head, I'm like, what are we doing? Like,
Nah,
nobody
this
does that
isn't
for
who
their
we are.
main entree. Nobody does that for like a normal appetizer. Like if that's spinach artichoke dip, dude, girls are just getting
All
after it.
They're
Right?
getting dirty, dude. They're getting dirty in the SA, yeah.
And so like my thought on that was I don't want to act like this is my first time ordering a charcuterie board. Like this ain't my
Mm.
first time eating some meats. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
You give
yeah.
me that Jack Link's beef jerky stick with the pepper jack cheese combo. I'm ripping that open and just freaking eating it, right? And
Yeah,
so I'm just there. I'm like, okay, let me just eat this like an asshole at the bar. So I'm just
yeah,
digging in, stuffing it into like the dips and then the, whatever, the mustard, the Dijon mustard they have there, the whatever
yeah.
weird spread they got that looks like cat food, but it's
Yeah, yeah.
delicious. Like you got those little
Fig
things.
spread for sure.
And
Fig
so I'm
jam.
like, whatever, dude. I'm just digging in, fingers and all,
Yeah.
instead of trying to be all delicate and stuff. Cause I'm like, if I'm gonna order this and like because Italian families and stuff like that, it's very common for them just to throw this stuff together.
Mhm.
And nobody's super fancy about it, dude. They just dig in.
No,
So
no,
I
it's
literally
a
caught
mash.
myself at a restaurant the other day. I noticed we were doing that, being delicate, and I'm like, I don't want to act like this is my first time eating this stuff.
No,
I
certainly
don't
not.
know.
Well, dude,
So
you
what's
said something.
etiquette?
You're like Jack Links, and I'm like, bro, they're the OG charcuteries. They just like they know how to run that thing, dude.
Uh-huh. Or you get
Um,
like the what is it, the P2s?
I
By
don't know
like
it.
Meyer, like the guys that make Lunchables. Well, they have these little P2 packets and it comes with either like almonds, cheddar cheese, and then they have like raisins or something in there too. And they're
Yeah,
just little quick little grab and go things. Nobody's sitting there like, how does this pair together?
nah,
You know,
no, no,
trying
no, no, no. It's a
to
different experience. Well, dude, I'll say to answer your question about the etiquette, here's what you do. First of all, these are typically like nice cheeses that you'll never eat somewhere else.
Mhm.
It's like a goat cheese out of South Carolina where some guy like named the goat and like the goat has an Instagram page, you know what I mean? And
Right.
so the etiquette is here's what I do. You got to test everything. You start off slow. You don't want to go in hot like Max Verstappen. You need to start off like Carlos. And bro, you test everything. You find one or two things you love, and then you just eat only that. And so nobody else can have it because it's your favorite. And that's the move.
Okay.
Yeah.
Strategically box people out.
Box people. Yeah, 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 dude. It's like Settlers of Catan, but with charcuteries.
Yeah, you plow them. Like,
Plow. Yeah,
consider it a
yeah, for sure.
plow. Yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
Exactly. Exactly. It's
I'm
a
all
move.
about
It's a move.
plowing people in Catan. Dude, okay, speaking of Catan, I got this strategy. So, I don't know if you played on colonist.io.
I've not.
Okay, so it's just like the board game. They created an online website that is a ripoff of Catan, and they have rankings and stuff. And
Yeah.
so you do 10 placement games when you start up playing ranked, and then they put you at like a category, and then you just try to be number one, basically. But there's
Mm-hmm.
tens of thousands of people that participate. Um, Last season, my placement games, I won
Seasons.
three.
Seasons.
Yes,
Wow.
seasons, dude. So I won 3 out of 10 in my placement, and I got to 1,400. I'm like, not too bad. Kristen, she won 2 out of 10. She got placed in like 1,100, right? Big
Yeah.
difference. And so I got up to
She
1,500.
sucks.
Yeah, exactly. Basically, no, she does good, but
She's mid.
she gets too caught up in the DMs and chats, and like I think
Mm.
people get in her head. Whatever. So basically,
So there's some
this
shit talking
season,
that goes down in this game.
oh yeah, a lot of it. And it's kind of
Wow.
like gamesmanship. Like when you catch somebody winning a little bit early, you want to kind of like rally everybody else to start blocking them and stealing
Oh,
from them.
fuck.
It's a
Okay.
whole thing. So okay, well this season's starting off, and I'm like, I got a strategy. I know what I'm doing, and so I've won 5 out of 6 placement games.
Wow. Wow, dude.
And so like I'm taking this shit personally when I'm in
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
And so, but I make it a point to plow whoever I'm next, like whoever's next to me, dude. I'm dominating that, like
It's
those
it's game
hexagons.
on. Yeah.
And so, yeah, like talking about plowing people in Catan, dude. I'm all
Bro.
about it.
Bro, is this so this is an app on your phone, right?
Yes.
Is this owned by Catan or is this like a knockoff game that's not actually Settlers of Catan?
It is Settlers of Catan. Same, everything's exactly the same. Same
Chinese
rules.
brand.
Yes. And so, but
Bro,
they just got developers got together and they figured out how can we make this more fluid for an online community. They got a Discord page. They're very active in there. All that stuff. They're coming out with updates constantly. It's legit.
dude.
Like there's some YouTubers that are like spitting game on Catan. And so
Dude.
I've been studying.
Dude, that's genius because like Settlers of Catan, which is a board game that's blowing up right now, some developers came in and said, "You know what? We can piggyback off of all of this success." They started a whole business, an app around the idea. They stole everything, but
Yep.
it's like what are they going to do? They turned it
Uh-huh.
into a thing. And is this paid or do they run ads?
So it's free. There's no ads,
Nice.
but they have different upgrades and stuff for like maps if you want to play with friends and whatnot.
Yeah.
But they called it colonist.io.
Yeah. So how
Colonist.
many you said there's leaderboards. How many people do you think play this?
A lot. A lot. So I could just run up some quick stats right now for you. So literally, it bases when you sign up on your IP address, what state
Hmm.
you're in. So if you're in the United States, it could place you in, like I'm in Missouri, so it'll do
Yeah.
Missouri state rankings. And then it goes over to other rankings. You could see United States, North America, and then global. And so they have
Wow.
global rankings. And so, I mean, there's a ton of people. And I haven't made my place, I haven't finished my placement rounds yet. So I don't
Hmm.
have an official ranking. But like, dude, you could kind of see like there's a lot of people. This is global, and then you can
Yeah.
go state. So at the end of last season, I was in the top 30 in my state.
Hell yeah.
And that's unsat, dude. I need to be top 10. Like I'm so upset
I see. I
about
see.
it.
Hell yeah, dude. All
So,
right. Well, bro,
yeah,
that's great though. I just love
yeah.
the idea though of like taking a board game that's already popular, turning it into an app, and then selling it and making tens, hundreds of thousands a month in advertising
Mhm.
revenue. And you
Yep.
didn't even have to come up with the idea.
Right.
It's just like boom, because I'm sure they're making a couple 100,000 a month at least.
I would imagine. Yeah, it's the preferred platform for like if you're going to play this game. There's
Damn.
other types of like popular board games that do something similar, like
Yeah.
Risk, for instance. And there's a lot
Yeah.
of YouTubers on that stuff too. So I mean, those like old, board games you would play on like a winter, like no
Hmm.
school day. Um,
That kind of
like
shit.
I'm like kind of like reliving childhood a little bit through this.
Sick. All right, let's keep
And
going. Let's find another business. Talk about another business that can make 3 to 5K part time. I've got another one unless you want to go next.
yeah, I'll just share a little bit about like what I did on the come up a little bit. And it was
Yeah.
more or less like Kristen did this. So
Hmm.
while my wife was going to school for her doctorate, I mean, we were just trying to figure out how could we just pay down credit cards and just like supplement some income and whatever. So we were just trying to power pay stuff down. Dude, we found a little hack. We always lived in
Love
apartment
hacks.
complexes, nice luxury apartment complexes, and just driving through the parking lot, those dumpsters get full of like nice furniture, like
Here we
really
go.
nice stuff.
Here we
And
go.
so we would just go jack that out of the trash can, take it up into our apartment, and we turned our living room into a studio. And essentially, if you can get the right lighting and you decorate whatever it is, say it's a coffee table, you
Hmm.
dress it up and make it look like boho or nice or whatever's trending, and you get
Hmm.
some really good photos of it with good lighting, you can sell those things for like, half of retail value, which is pretty good for flipping, used furniture and stuff like that. And so
Yeah.
we would do that like consistently. We would just drive around different nice apartment complexes, load up the truck with whatever we could find, nightstands, end tables, couches, whatever, and we'd bring it up to our studio and just
Hmm.
take really good photos. We would also go online on like Facebook Marketplace. People give away like couches for free. And they take the worst photos, bro.
Yeah.
Like dingy, like their camera lens is like smudged and you know it. It's like everything's just off.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, this thing would sell for like $500 and they have it listed at like $80. It looks like crap because their room is dirty. It looks
Yeah.
nasty. They took no effort into like making it look good. And so we would just grab those and then turn around and flip them. And dude, we were pulling in like good months, like 2 grand a month,
Wow.
and this is like part time. Like we're just hanging
Yeah.
out. We go to the coffee shop, drive around some neighborhoods, load it up. And it was just like a little thing we did together.
It's like
But that
almost
was one of the
fun. Yeah.
it was. And so like that kind of stuff, I think people just overlook it. They just think, "Oh, I'm gonna throw this out. I'm gonna get rid of it." But dude, just
All
get
the
a
time.
ring light or something, and just like dress it up and make it look good. You'll be surprised at how quickly you can turn things.
Damn.
And so that was something that we did early on, and that's a little side hustle that a lot of people they just kind of neglect. They
Mhm.
think they're above it.
It sounds like the hack is really go to those rich neighborhoods though. Those luxury
Yes.
apartments. Yeah, where you have
Mhm.
everybody at once.
Yeah, because it's condensed. It's like you're not just driving through a nice neighborhood hoping somebody leaves something out on like the end of their driveway.
Yeah.
Like at an apartment, dude, it's like you got 400 to 500 people that
Mhm.
all probably make a good amount of money and they're constantly like getting rid of stuff and shuffling it out. It's concentrated. So it's just so much faster,
It's
better use
easy.
of time to do those things.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you can just drive in and like nobody gives you a
Yep.
hard time about it. Like no one gives a
No
shit.
shame, dude. No. Cuz
Dude, no
like
shit.
like we stumbled across this idea when we were trying to move
Mhm.
and we needed cardboard boxes. And so, dude, people just dump cardboard boxes at apartment complexes. They just throw them all in the trash can and they're nice. Like, and
I
cardboard
do it all the
boxes aren't
time.
cheap. You go to Home
Yeah.
Depot, dude, like you're spending quite a bit of money. And so
Hmm.
we were just jacking these boxes and we're like, dude, who left this here? Like,
Yeah.
what? Okay, let me
Yeah.
just spend 5 minutes and take a picture of it in my apartment,
Yeah.
and post it on Marketplace. So we were burning and turning stuff.
Dude, it's those photos, man. It's the photos.
It's
It's the iPhone.
it's all about the photos. It is presentation, dude.
Sick.
Yeah.
All right. Here's the next business I have. A little
Okay.
trickier, and it does require some startup capital potentially. Uh,
Sure.
I was surprised I never told you this story. So in high school, my grandma had two old, like big ass 3 foot, 4 foot tall speakers. And I was like, Graham, like, what are you doing with these? And she's like, oh, we used to like use them to throw events way back 50 years ago. I was like, oh shit, can I use these? It was like PVL brand. So they're solid.
Yeah.
And bro, when I was 17, I rented out a hall, like a banquet hall. And me and my buddy rented a bunch of DJ equipment. We created a Facebook group called DJ MC. We named ourselves DJ MC. We didn't know that MC also stood for DJ. It
Yeah.
stood for like our middle initials. And we would throw parties and we would charge people $5 a head. We called them blacklight dance parties. We rented out the hall for like $100, rented the gear for another $100, and then we would make like $1,000 a night every time we would do this. And
Wow.
this was back when Facebook was like, there was no ads on Facebook, but what you could do is you can like sort by school or what high school people went to. So we created an account and added everybody as a friend. And then we would just invite them to all of our events over and over. And bro, like for 6 months to a year, we were doing this. We did 6 events total, I think, make it about $1,000 a piece. And when you're
Mhm.
like when you're like 17, dude, and you make $1,000, you feel like the man. You feel like you're on top of the world. But
Bro,
what was really cool about
you're like flexing on your parents at that point.
dude,
Like,
yeah, I felt like it too. We went to
you know?
Taco Bell and we dumped out a shoebox full of $5 bills and we were just like counting them. And
Uh-huh.
it was hilarious though because you had to be 18 years old to rent a banquet hall. And neither of our parents would rent it for us because they felt like we were just going to like F it up. And
Mhm.
so I have an uncle who's like he's kind of on the other side of good, if you know what I'm saying. And like
Mhm.
he'll do anything for a quick buck type of thing. And I was like, yo, Mike. And he's like, yo, nephew Devin. And I was like, bro, I need you to like sign for me for this like banquet hall. And he's like, yeah, sure, whatever, no problem. Uh, and he's actually a super chill dude. But yeah, we would like hustle, dude, to just find any way to make money. And what's crazy is we didn't make like consistent money because you only do so many of them. But I made a lot of connections. I ended up getting a job at the radio station as their wedding DJ. So I would then go DJ weddings and they would pay me like $500 a night and that was more consistent. And dude, I didn't know anything about music. Like at all. I had zero musical I barely listened to music growing up. It just wasn't a major interest of mine. So DJing, dude, like it's hard to I probably go pro, but everybody needs a local DJ and all of that gear can be rented. And if you get to know somebody, I bet you they could loan you 100, $200 to rent it just up front.
Were you on like I mean like what was the technology back then? Was it like
Dude,
LimeWire? Was it like did you have an
pro.
iPod Pro, or was it like did you everything downloaded to like a disc? Like what were you doing? Cuz
So, dude, I had a desktop PC in LimeWire. We would download all of the music. Yeah, that's exactly it. We would download every popular artist album and then we would just go through and just bro, we would straight up just from like we connected our computer to this big ass mixer and we would just
Mhm.
like click play and when the song was done, we would click play again on the next one. There was none of this. There was
No
nothing.
transition.
No, 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 no. And eventually we found I think there's uh an app called like like DJ app or something, and then we could like slowly transition, and that was a game changer for our music for sure.
You went from like Young Jock to like the Cupid Shuffle, like but it
Dude,
was
for
like a
real.
hard pause.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
all right, guys, get out
Yeah,
on the
dude.
dance floor. It's get ready for the Cupid Shuffle.
Yeah,
Come
yeah.
on down.
Dude, we had 2 rules. Number 1 is no slow songs ever. Never a slow song. We tried it once and it just flopped, and we're like, all right, never again. And 2 was we need to make it seem like we are the best in the business. I don't know why. I mean, dude, we're 17. And so we got these shirts that had the Monster logo on it. And on all of our branding, we had the Monster logo. And we told everybody we were sponsored by Monster energy drinks. And we would like throw them out into the crowd. And everybody thought we were fucking sponsored by Monster. I certainly was not. Never once even reached out to him. Maybe we did.
That's
I don't
so
remember.
cool. I mean, no, like you basically are like you are sponsoring Monster. Like, so it's just
I guess it's the other way around.
Sponsoring.
Yeah, it's the other way around, dude.
Not a full fib,
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
I
Yeah.
love that. No, it's so fun to kind of like piece together those kind of things, and like just kind of like replaying what that experience was probably like. Like, you got to bring the party. Like if you
Yeah.
don't have a straight transition and you don't blend the music, like when I had a New Year's party at my house, and I just had some Spotify playlists, and what I did was I had like a 7 to 8 second, like when the song's about 8 seconds from being over, it starts blending in the other song.
Oh,
So
that's
Spotify
nice.
kind of does that for you a little bit. And so it just kind of helps keep everything together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But back in the day, dude, you're like, you have to announce the transition, like, get on the dance floor. Let's get ready,
Dude, 100%. It's okay. We can cut out the part with the dogs barking.
Yeah. I'm trying to mute a little bit, but we're all good.
Here, you might be able to, just to pause, you might be able to lower, or can you do it, or maybe I can do it? Let's see here. Here, talking to the mic.
Hello.
Okay, so I lowered your mic volume, so you'll have to talk closer to it, but I can't hear
Yeah.
anything.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, no, this is perfect. So the sensitivity of your mic just went down. We'll just
Nice.
clip this
Okay,
part.
cool.
Let me just make a note.
Yeah.
We're 22 minutes in. Cool. All right. Another way to make cash. So, dude, if I had to start all over again, I think the easiest way, realistically, is just to teach a skill to anybody. It doesn't matter what it is. And everybody's like, oh, I don't have any skills. I'm like, yeah, you do. You've been alive for 20, 30 years. You know something. You haven't just been sitting on a couch staring at a screen for that whole time. And if you have, maybe you know more about sports. Who knows? And so I'm realizing how much money there is in private education and paying somebody to teach you how to do something. And I don't like the whole coaching model, because I think it's kind of like a lot of times BS. But if you do in fact know a skill, like I have a buddy who he's a ER doctor, and he's also a big outdoorsman. And so he started essentially like a curriculum on how to survive in the wilderness in 72 hours with nothing but just the clothes on your back. And that's his whole like curriculum or coaching. And he'll bring people out into the wild and show them how to survive and fend for themselves in New York. And
Whoa.
dude, it's like, it's so cool. But what's hard about this is you do have to have a certain level of skills and understanding of how to do like digital advertising if you're going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like all of this stuff you can learn.
Right. Well, so then it's like, do you follow something you're passionate about right off the bat, or do you just like I guess, how do you identify if that's something you want to pursue?
Right. Well, it's like there's so many coaches, and this is such a thing, like guru world. Like this hasn't always been a thing, has it? Or has this always just been like everybody's a guru and they're trying to sell you something?
I
'Cause it
think
seems
the
like
thought
that.
of I think that a guru is kind of a newer concept, at least like on a mass scale with like influencers online.
Mhm.
What was that? Like, I was having a conversation last night, thinking about like the advantages and disadvantages our parents had, and then think about their parents, like grandparents. And so it's like technology wasn't necessarily a thing. Like technology to them was like, oh, I got a corded phone finally, or oh, I can listen to the broadcast on my radio, or we got a TV. And so it's like, how did you even go about learning a new skill? And
Mm,
so you had to go to like the neighborhood or the community expert to try to learn this thing. So I think it was so much easier to identify yourself as an expert because people couldn't really credential you that hard. Like you just were kind of that person. And
yeah.
so it's like, you know, like nowadays anybody could just post up and say, "Oh, I'm an expert at this. I'm this, like I'm the leading person of knowledge in this category." But in reality, it's like, are you living
You
that?
don't know
You
shit.
know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is
Dude, it's a great point because like you and I meet people all the time that are on Facebook Live saying how great they are at selling real estate. It's like, well, how many homes you sold? And it's like 20. It's like, dude, get out of here. It's like your brokerage
Mhm.
sold like 800 pieces of real estate, and I've got a small team that's doing over 100 million in volume. And like even then, we're still small beans, dude, compared to the
Yeah,
Mark Spains. Like, it's crazy.
it's so true. And maybe this person that is like they're the breakout individual in their family. They think
Hmm.
they're hot stuff. So like amongst their group, their peer, like they're it. And then,
Right.
they don't have that perspective of being maybe in a bigger pond where there's other players and they can't really have the perspective to say
Yeah.
like, I need to kind of slow down a little bit. I had an instance like this recently. An agent blowing me up at like 9 o'clock at night. That's not even at my brokerage complaining about an inspection that's going on. And I'm like, did anybody get harmed? Did anything get damaged? Like, what's going on? They're like, no, they're just trying to let an inspector get in there without the agent being present. I'm like, okay, how about you guys have a conversation about this instead of talking to me about this?
Calling the broker. Yeah.
Like, what are we doing? Like, what is this? And it's like, oh, well, I've sold 23 homes. Like, I never stand for this. It's like, chill, dude. Like,
It's
chill.
like, dude.
Like,
It's like, dude,
this isn't
that's
mission critical. Like, you know what I mean? Like, figure it out. Like,
bro.
but
Dude, but
yeah,
that's
it
like that's a
is.
skill not everybody has. It's just like figuring shit out. Just like
Mm-hmm.
I dude, okay, this isn't a controversial topic. I think that millennials are better at googling and figuring things out than any other uh era or
Generation.
generation. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
generation. Like by far, dude. So like I have some employees that are Gen Z and like they're confused about shit. I'm like, dude, did you Google it? And they're like, no. I'm like, bro, like why the fuck not? You grew up with Google. Uh
Mm-hmm.
and I just feel like we are right in the middle where it's like our parents worked full time for the most part. And then we also like our teachers still like kind of gave a shit. Maybe that's bad to say. And so we had like good resources and parent models, but we also like weren't always around it. So we figure shit out.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I think that there's something to be said there about that. Just
Yeah.
being resourceful. Well, okay, think about growing up and not really having access to Google. Like, I
Yeah.
remember the first time that I realized you can Google definitions and do math problems on your phone. I think I was in like 8th grade
Hmm.
and we're in English class and something was being brought up and it was like a multiple choice question. And then there was like some math we were talking about too. Somebody pulls out their phone. And they're like, you could just Google it or you could just
Yeah.
research it. And I was like, what is happening? That seems crazy. And
Yeah.
so, prior to that, you had a dictionary and you had textbooks, and then we
Dude.
adopted technology and now we have the ability to just hit up the phone and use that. So I think for us it's like such a cherished resource because we've kind of seen the other side of it. Whereas like, the generation now that grew up with an iPad in their hand, that
Hmm.
had all that at their disposal, they don't understand the gift they have. So they kind of just disregard it or they don't think of it as like a tool to help solve real problems.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my
Maybe.
thoughts on it
Yeah.
initially. And so it's like you lacked your resourcefulness because I'm just thinking like back in the day, it's like, did you look that up in the dictionary? Did you look in your textbook? And I'm like, no. And I had it right in front of me because I grew up with it. Like I never cared about it
Yeah.
to research or try to figure out problems or to even realize that there are things that can solve your problem that are available to you that's right in front of your face. Like, dude, I remember the first time I had an energy drink.
Hmm.
Do you remember your first time having an energy drink? Have you ever thought about that?
No, no, but I want to hear yours. Let's hear it.
So it was like 9th grade, and I'm going out to a
Sick.
party with my
What
cousin.
What a time to have your first drink, dude. Let's go.
Energy drink. And so, dude, I'm like, we're at Quick Trip, the gas station here in town, and I always go in there and I get some taquitos, and I'm like, man, I'm kind of tired. My cousin's like, oh, well, drink one of these, and I'm like, what's that? He's like,
Mhm.
it's an energy drink. It makes you not tired. I'm like, no fucking way. Like what? Like
Yeah.
I don't have to just be sleepy like for the next
Yeah.
4 hours. I could actually like
Yeah.
drink this, and I'm gonna like be right up. I don't like it was so weird to me because I never had that. And so that started my monster addiction.
Oh,
you know?
shit. Here we go.
and and so yeah, dude, like I always had a monster energy drink. But it was just like that your first experience at something that can just like change your physical state.
Mm.
Realizing you don't have to live like that anymore. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't know about coffee until like I was out of the military. I was like 22, 23 years old.
Yeah.
And like my girlfriend at the time, that's now my wife, is like her family's just drinking black coffee. I'm like, what is that? I'm like, that stuff looks nasty. I just figured that's just what people drink before they go to work. Like, I don't know why they
Yeah.
drink it. It's just
Yeah.
nobody explained it to me. And now I drink a lot of coffee. Like I have some right here. Like I
It's
live off coffee now.
fantastic, dude. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's like those little hacks of like, little things. And then so it goes back to researching and like using tools or being resourceful, Googling. And
Mhm.
one thing I've been doing a lot lately is if I need a quick fix to something, I used to go to Google. And when you go to Google, you get all these stupid blogs that have like, here's why it's important to blah, 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 ad, conclusion. And then they finally teach you how to do what you're searching for. Right.
Yeah.
And then they have YouTube videos. And it's like this guy that's like, hello, today I'm going to show you the ins
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
outs of how to blah, blah. And it's 30 minutes long. Now you can just go on TikTok, dude, and just
Yeah.
look up
TikTok or
how to
Reddit,
fix a
dude. And it's like, you got everything.
plumbing leak. Like I had my pipes freeze up recently and I had a burst and I'm like, how to do it? And it's like within 20 seconds I knew everything I need to know. And
That's
it like
amazing, dude. That's amazing.
done and done, you know?
Yeah. Bro, like, but those are like, it's a skill. It's a real skill. And if you don't
Mhm.
grow up learning it, you either figure it out yourself or you just complain about it. And
Well, bro, oh sorry to interrupt. You can go ahead.
no, no. This
No,
reminds me of when I had a, I was in college and one of my friends from high school, not even friends, like this kid I knew from high school, bought a scratch off lottery ticket in Michigan, won $500,000. And it was like the talk of the town, dude. And he was like, he was living his life, right? He bought like a gold plated iPhone, like the whole thing. Like, and
mhm.
I remember at the time, I was probably like 21, 19. I was like, man, like, I wish I could like win $500,000. And now I'm so glad I didn't because now this year, that's roughly what I'll profit. And I'm just like, that happened to him one time and he can't ever do that again. Whereas
Mhm.
now, like I have companies that do that for me or more, like profiting every single year. And even if I had to start over with none of these assets, I still have all of the skills on how to do this. Because
Yeah.
there is an element where it's like you can't Google everything. Like
Mhm.
like I used to think you could. And I'm realizing that dude, there's certain information that's either behind a relationship wall or a paywall. And if you don't know the right person or you aren't willing to pay the right person, you're not going to get everything you need.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I mean, like there are experts out there. One thought that I had when it talks about people just kind of like blindly just existing in their problems without seeking a solution.
Dude. Yeah.
Like how often are you going to keep stubbing your toe on that like thing that's around the corner before you decide how could I stop stubbing my toe?
Mhm.
Maybe I move it out of the way, right?
Right,
And
right.
so it's like what is it? It's like Tony Robbins always says is the quality of answers you get is determined on the quality of questions you ask.
That
So if
makes sense.
you want better answers, ask better questions. And so when I started phrasing my problems as like questions,
Mhm.
I got so much more clarity. Like I felt like I could kind of like get out of this like maze I was in my head of like just being stuck. And part of it was money, you know? Like getting out
Mhm.
of the military, I just knew they controlled you financially based on your pay grade. And they disciplined you financially by reducing your pay grade if you fucked up. And I'm like, okay, well, how do I like money is this thing that everybody is concerned with and it's very important. And so it's like, how do I make more money? That was my question I asked myself. Like, why do I have to be broke? Why do I have
Yeah.
to accept a 9 to 5 job? And so I just said, okay, well, what do people do that are achieving high levels of income that I'm not doing? That was a question. That's a very open, broad question. Like, there's a lot
It's
of
a
things you can
legit
do.
question. Yeah.
And the fastest thing that came to my mind is that successful people read more. And I'm like, okay, what do they read? Like, I don't know. So
Yeah.
I just looked up, okay, who's successful? And then I got like a Warren Buffett book. And then
Yeah.
I stumbled across a Tony Robbins book. And then I stumbled across the real estate book. And like things just thinking of like, okay, successful people do this. Let me just start acting in that habit pattern and do
Yeah.
those things. And
Yeah.
eventually I started just getting new ideas and it started just taking me down the path of really figuring out what the hell is going on with me and how I can get out of it.
Yeah. Wait, do you remember the first time you were exposed to that idea of self-help books? Or like the first book
Yes.
in that, what was it? Or what was the book?
Right off the bat, dude. Okay, the book I'll say it and then I'll tell you like what led me to it was Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins
Okay.
or Unleash the
Okay.
Giant Within,
Unleash,
something
yeah.
like that. And so, dude, it's just like it's like you're in control. Like you have the power to change your life, and then
Mhm.
and then it gets you out of the mindset of thinking things don't happen to me; they happen because of me.
That's
Right?
so
It's like
nice.
I'm in
Yeah.
charge. And so, but the first thing is I just said, okay, people that have money usually invest. So where do you invest? You invest in the stock markets. My brother-in-law, he was doing penny stocks and he was going to Rutgers School of Business for finance. And so
Mhm.
he's in that world, Wolf of Wall Street world, it felt like. And so I picked up an investing book. And I'm like, okay, it takes money to make money in the investing world. I don't have any money. What are we going to do? And so,
Mhm.
but I picked up who was it? Warren Buffett book. And I believe the book is called Snowball by Warren
Okay.
Buffett. Dude, I just had to read the first chapter. The first chapter changed my fucking life. I
Yeah.
put the book down after that. I didn't finish it. I did not finish that book.
It was so good, you quit.
Yeah. I just needed the perspective.
Uh-huh.
That's all I
Yeah.
get. I just need the perspective in that. And so this was it. He
Bro,
said,
hold on. Imagine if you had finished the book.
maybe I need to go revisit it.
Bro.
Maybe that's I'll add it to the list. It's a
Yeah.
thick book. It's
It's
I don't know. I get intimidated by big books. Um so basically the chapter is spoiler alert. He talks about how he's a young kid. I think he was probably in Nebraska. It's
Mhm.
snowing outside, right? And he's out there playing in the snow. He builds a little snowball. He starts pushing it. And the
Mhm.
snow's sticky. And as he pushes the ball, he realizes it gets bigger and bigger. But it's exponentially. It's not like slow, it's happening fast. And he's like,
Yeah.
wow, okay, let me push this down the street. How big can I get it? He gets to the bottom of the street. It's the snowball's huge. And he looks up and he sees a world full of snow.
Wow.
And dude, that right there, I was like, that's
Wow.
compounding. That's the land of opportunity. That's like endless ability to grow this thing as big as you can make it, as big
Yeah.
as you want it to be. And so thinking of that moment when I heard that gave me
World
chills.
full of snow. That's
There's a
beautiful
world
writing.
full of snow, dude. It's like there's so much opportunity out there. It's right in front of your face. It's just a matter of going out there and playing in it and
Yeah.
learning and figuring it out. And so I listened to it on an audiobook because I'm not the best reader. Like, I don't know, like
It's okay, dude.
English was not my favorite subject. I had a lot of fun there because I got along with buddies and the teacher, but I failed every year and I had to take summer school classes just to
Good for you,
pass.
bro. Look at you now.
Thank you. Look at me now. And so, I was listening to Howard Stern driving to my 9 to 5 job right out of the military. And I'm like, this is garbage. They're talking about, dick jokes and this and that. And I'm like, let me just turn on Audible. This is amazing. Like it was new technology to me.
Mhm.
I'm like, this is freaking so cool. They can read it to me. I love story times. And
Yeah.
so, I listened to that chapter and like that did it for me. And I'm like, wow, I have a newfound like sense of respect for just like the information that's out there. I just need to like consume it.
Yeah. It's there.
So that's my first self-help like experience. So those two
Wow.
books, dude, like put me on a different trajectory. How about you? What was
Bro,
yours?
I need to read Snowball. I'd need to read the first chapter because that's great, dude. A world full of snow, like dry powder, bro, everywhere. I love it. Um,
Yes.
I was I was 18 working for a mortgage broker. And dude, I come from a poor family. Like growing up, we were on food stamps. The best day of the week was when food stamp money kicked in or of the month. And like we had fresh fruit in the fridge, dude. And I was like, holy shit, it's game on. Like we were poor to the point where when I would make like tuna sandwiches, I would not drain the juice. I would drink the juice from the can because there's sustenance there, dude.
Oh
And
my
so
gosh.
it's like, you're a kid. Like, you don't
Mhm.
know any different. This is the way it was. And I always knew that I wanted to own businesses because I never wanted to work for somebody. And I hated the idea of somebody telling me what to do. And I was so tired when I was growing up of like always having to rely on whether it was welfare or just who knows what. And I was like, this is bullshit. And I got a job for a real estate broker. And all day for 5 days a week, 40 hours a week, I would stuff envelopes, dude. And I would just fucking sit there and fold and stuff and print and like put postage stamps. And like, dude, I was doing that for months. And I was starting to listen to Audible, and someone told me I need to listen to the book Think and Grow Rich. And I was like, why? They're like, you just do it. I was like, all right. And I look it up and I like didn't have the book. And so I found it on YouTube. And there's a 6 to 7 hour recording of that book on YouTube. And so, dude, I listened to it all the way through one day at work, my 8-hour shift. I listened to the whole book. And dude, it fucking like my mind, like I couldn't, it was like a fire hose for me. And then the next day, I listened to it again and again. And dude, I've listened to that book 50 times because I'm just sitting there stuffing envelopes, dude. There was a point where I had like chapters fucking memorized from that thing. And from that moment, I realized I was like, I can do anything I want. Like, I am not a piece of driftwood in the ocean. Like, that's like depending on the current. Like, I am the ocean. The driftwood is the obstacles I need to get around. And that just clicked,
Dude, yeah. Ah, it's so cool having that aha moment
bro.
because it hits you at the most unexpected times, you
Yeah,
know?
it does.
And what like Steve Jobs always says, he's like, you can never connect the dots looking forward. It's only when you look back you see that everything has led you here.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Right? And
amazing.
it's
It's
like,
amazing.
okay, so like, just constantly just putting yourself in a position to have the opportunity to like get inspired or have that breakthrough or learn something new. It's people don't sit in that. They don't like they're not receptive to it, right?
Yeah.
They're not looking for it. Everybody just
No.
wants to act like they got it figured out. They don't
Bro,
need to
I
know.
know. There's so
It's
much shit I don't know, dude. And I'm just like,
Mhm.
I tell people all the time, I'm good at like 2, maybe 3 things. At this point in my life, I'm really good at selling real estate. I know how to do that. And I'm really good at running a sales team. I know how to do that. And lately, I've become really good at running effective meetings. But everything else, I'm average or worse at. And I want to tell you something. I had a big lesson this week.
okay.
So Sundar Pichai, I believe is how you say it. He is the CEO of Google. And 3 years ago, I heard a story where a higher level executive was telling the story of how, no, this is a couple years before that. Sundar was leading one of the meetings at Google prior to him actually being the CEO. And the top level executive noticed every time Sundar ran the meetings, it was just fucking dialed in. And he commented on this video I was watching. He was saying, dude, like Sundar runs the tightest meetings I have seen in my entire life. This guy's going to be CEO someday. Couple of years later, sure enough, CEO of one of the largest companies in the entire world. And at the time, I didn't understand what it meant to run an effective meeting. And now I do. And I want to tell you why.
Love to
So
hear
I
it.
recently stepped in my rock climbing gym. I'm pretty much hands off. I do a ownership meeting once a week, but as far as like meeting, there's 5 managers. As far as meeting them, I only meet the GM and that's it. And I noticed that there were some challenges and we wanted to grow a little bit more this year. And so I said for the next 12 weeks, I'm going to step in and I'm going to run the manager level meetings of High Climb. And so I'm going to meet with the GM, the operations manager, the community manager, the route setting manager, and then basically like class, fitness, yoga instructor, all that. And I realized in this time, because I've been running meetings like this for a while at Pineapple now, but I've realized how effective meetings can be because everybody thinks like it's just a meet to communicate information, and that is not what it's meant to be for. We follow a regimented schedule. The first thing we do is we open with good news. We just get everybody on a good like group mind, be in a good mood, be open to it. Then everybody reports their metrics, their scorecards. And so everybody has 2 to 4 numbers that they report on, and this should only take less than 30 seconds per person because during this time there's a rule which is no stories. So, for example, how many new members have we signed up this week? And let's say the number was just easy numbers 25. What I'm not looking for is 3 members signed up, but it was a busy week. Nah. We're just looking for numbers right now. Then every quarter, we set a quarterly project per position. Each department needs to get 1 project or 2 done no matter what. They have a deadline, it has to be done. Then we report on, and I'll give you this, I've got a whole sheet of it. Then everybody will have a to-do list of the things that they have to accomplish from the previous meeting. And I read it off and I say, okay, David, did you start the new ad campaign? Done or not done? And you're like, done. Anthony, done or not done? Not done. Okay. And dude, it's just, again, no stories. Then we go on to, it's called, I do SOP reviews. And so every week we review 2 operating procedures in the company as an entire team. And everybody, we read it out loud. Everybody needs to know it exists. You don't need to memorize it. But when it's time to perform that task, such as opening up the facility at 7 a.m., I need us all to know that this exists and where to find it. So we review 2 per week. Then we do what's called IDS, identify, discuss, solve. A lot of this is out of the book Traction EOS model. And we will make a list of every single thing that we need to discuss. And then we'll make a list of everything that we tried to discuss last week but didn't have time for. And then we'll prioritize it from the order we need to go through. And then we'll go through and we'll discuss each problem or discussion point. So, for example, if we're doing a new youth coaching program for rock climbing, we'll discuss it. Then, if there is a task at the end of that discussion for that item, that gets put in our checklist for next week as a to-do item. And so now I'll be like, all right, David, your to-do list is you need to provide us the pricing proposal for our youth camp next week. That's due next week, Tuesday at this time. Are you good with that? Yes, I am. And so now that's on your to-do list. And then we basically wrap up the meeting and give it a rating and reconfirm what everybody's to-do list is. And here's what I've learned by doing this. I, as a leader, as an owner, as a manager, no matter how hard I work, I will never be able to outproduce 5 or 6 people working full-time all at once. Even if I'm doing double the effort, I won't be able to. So here's my job. I go in and every single person has a list of 3 to 5 big responsibilities they have to get done in the next 7 days that will move the company forward. And I help set those intentions or those to-dos. And by the end of that 2-hour meeting, there are now 5 or 6 people that are going to go out and do 3 to 10 things to move my company forward. And if you do that every single week, that is 50 to 60 tasks potentially being done that are moving your company forward. And you are leading the meeting and providing clarity on what their jobs are supposed to be. And that's what I learned as a manager on how I can have the best impact.
Dude, that is sick.
Was that a lot? That was a lot.
No, dude, that was perfect. Like, I think that's a missing skill. Like a lot of it is just trying to get people to focus on on like what is expected of them, right? And being comfortable with like underperforming, but knowing that like we can turn this around. And
Mhm.
like, what was the initial response when you had this type of structure of meeting? And what were the meetings like before? Because
Oh,
like
dude.
briefly, whenever I would come in and I would set expectations and start pointing at people and ask them for results, you do get the
Mhm.
stories. I've gotten feedback, not directly to me, but hearing from other employees that this person didn't like to be called out in the meeting and they went home and cried.
Damn.
Like I've had
Yeah.
that feedback when it's just normal asks of like, where are
Right.
we at with this? What are we doing? And so I feel like if you implement this right off the rip with your employees, maybe you've had them for a little bit, what would did you find that they were a little like taken back by like the seriousness or the structure? And did it impact them negatively or did you get any type of feedback on that?
I think it came up with one person who's no longer with our organization, and she
Mhm.
wasn't an A player. But I've noticed that the people that you wanna have on your team anyway are okay with accountability because they're doing good work. And the people that aren't doing good work, they don't like this.
Ooh.
But
Yeah.
I'm telling you, dude, the people that do good work, they fucking love it because they get to show up every week and they're like, done, 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 done. And and then
Mhm.
the next guy is like, oh, done, not done, not done. And they feel good because they're like, wow, like I'm delivering. And they also know that that's how you get raises. That's how, like, if you show up and make the company more money, like most or good organizations will recognize that and pay their people more so they stay around and they're happy.
And so these are all group meetings. You don't have individual meetings with these guys?
Uh, y I do not, but the general manager does. And so
Okay.
we cover, like, basically everything that's company-wide. I do this for both companies right now. And then individually, the manager is responsible to meet each team member per week and potentially go deeper into each one of these topics.
Mhm.
And because oftentimes they might be waiting on things like a payment proposal needs to be approved by a GM or just some bullshit. And so that way we're not wasting everybody's time when just two people can sort it all out.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense.
Dude, like
Nice.
I've it's crazy though because now I think of it, it's like at High Climb there's about 800 man hours that go into that business every week. And lately normally I put in like 5 to 10 hours a week. Lately I've been putting in like 15 to 20 just because I want to see some changes happen.
Mhm.
And of the 1,000 man hours that go 800,000, I put in 10 to 20 of them, but my 10 to 20, if I do it right, can impact the organization far greater than anything else.
Yeah. Well, if they're operating at a 50% capacity,
Right.
you come in and add an extra 5 hours, so you got 800 man hours. They're operating at 400 effectively. You come
Yeah,
in and move that needle up a little bit, dude, like
it's
that could
big.
be 100 extra hours worth of work being completed and you put in an extra 5. So that multiplier effect, that's a 20x, dude. So
Yeah.
you're 20xing your impact. And I think that's so in my head in my businesses, I do have a bottleneck with like recruiting good employees, like thinking about the next stage of how do I remove myself from certain roles and so but I think that perspective helps me out a ton because if I pause and really dial in who's a good fit for this role that I'm trying to outsource and I bring them in. Let's
Mhm.
say I'm absent for 3 weeks while I figure this out, or even a month, so
Yeah.
4 weeks. Well, I bring in the right person. If they can 5x my efforts and my results, they're going to make back up that lapse in work month one, most, you know what I mean? If they're the right fit.
Yeah.
Within one
Yeah.
month, they made up for that lull in time. And then it's just a net positive rolling forward with the extra workload that's being done.
Yeah.
If
Dude,
you just
that's
look at it strictly
that's
by the
exactly
numbers.
it. Actually, that brings me can I share something I've been working on? And then cuz it relates to this a lot.
Of course.
Thanks. I expected a yes.
I was
So
gonna throw something else out there.
my buddy and I started a investment company called Alexander Gilbert AG Capital Partners. And essentially what we do is we buy multifamily buildings with investors' money and some of our own money. We will go in, we'll fix up the building, we will fill vacant units, we will raise rents, and we will improve the property itself. I'm talking like 1 to 250 unit apartment buildings. And so
Mm.
this is often referred to as a couple things like multifamily investing, syndication, and there's all kinds of ways to go about it. And my partner, who is also a real estate agent here, a little bit newer in business than I am, but also just a great general worker, very smart, has a good finance background. We were discussing roles and responsibilities for each one of us as business owners in this business. And initially, we actually paid to hire a coach who owns a couple hundred apartment buildings. So he knows what he's doing, and it wasn't cheap. And he said that the most important thing that we need to do is have relationships with big commercial real estate brokers in the market we want to get deals, because what will happen is they will send us transactions to buy.
Right.
And my partner was like, "All right, let's just start cold calling these brokers." And I was like, "Yeah, we could do that." And I took a little bit and I thought about it. And so what we ended up, and then you also have to do what's called underwriting of the deals, which is basically a fancy word for plug in numbers into an Excel sheet and see if it makes sense to invest in.
Right.
And so he was teaching us how to do all that. I was like, dude, I think what we need to do is step back and we need to build a business pretending we only had 10 hours a week to input into it. I want you to pretend that you're not, as soon as 10 hours hits, you're not allowed to do a single thing more. And so what we did was we hired a virtual assistant to do all of our underwriting. So all of like the Excel, chasing down data, getting quotes for insurances, all that shit. We taught him. He is our underwriter. That's all he does. He does nothing else. We hired another virtual assistant, and it's nice. It's a new company, and I didn't want there to be too much burden of cash flow to burn. And we hired another one, and her only job is to chase down commercial brokers and set up calls with my partner. And so here's what
Right.
happens. One virtual assistant every day is reaching out to agents, telling them what we're looking for, asking them for deals, essentially. She will, if they have something, she'll set up a call on my partner's calendar and then they'll talk about it. And if that deal looks good, our other guy will take all the numbers in, plug it all into our Excel formulas, and determine if it's a good investment. And so now we as owners, the only thing we need to do is make good decisions on if we're going to invest or not. That's the only
Mhm.
thing. I mean, there's a little bit more to it, but so
Sure.
now we have this machine. And so what I think about this now is when everybody says, I want to build a business or I want to start my own business, I say, no, you need to build a machine that will do all of this without you. You don't want to start your own business. You need to go find people that will run and manage this business for you. Now, the downside is if you don't have any capital, it's a little bit harder. So you either need to bring them on as partners or make them a promise and tell them the upsides and downsides.
Mm. Dude, I have like 1,000 thoughts going through my
Dude,
head based
hit
off
me.
that
Yeah.
perspective. Well, I'm just thinking about like every position at my office, like when it comes down to either like reaching out, cold reach outs, or
Mm-hmm.
messaging people, or just like things you can outsource to a virtual assistant.
Mm-hmm.
I have employees that I'm paying that are tasked with doing these jobs, but if I empower them with say, hey, listen, you only got 2 hours a day to do this.
Yeah.
I need you to figure out how to get somebody else to do this for you,
Hmm.
like a virtual
Yeah.
assistant, with like within the budget of what you make, right? So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, could you find a VA that costs you less than $500 a month to do
Mm-hmm.
essentially your job, right?
Yeah.
And then now you're tasked with managing that person.
Yeah.
And so now they're more effective and then they can manage that, handle that lane, and then now work on other projects if they're an A player. I'm just thinking about those kind of
Dude.
scenarios that I
Yeah.
can just start riffing on throughout the week and seeing if I can implement them. If it's really got something to it, if it's really got some nuts, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
then let's plug and play, dude, and just, get rolling. I think that's amazing because I think about all the opportunities I have with some of the structures I've built that I'm not tapping into. Like for instance,
Me
on
too.
the idea of these small businesses that you can start up with no cost essentially and make 5 grand a month. There's these guys that are local. They do marketing for small businesses. and they charge anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 to make probably
Wow.
10 to 20 posts a month. They could be reels, graphics. They can give you out promotional items, like whatever you need, graphic design, editing, those kind of things. They can provide
Mhm.
that. 3 to 5 grand, dude. I
Wow.
got a virtual assistant at my office that does all my marketing for every single one of my 150 real estate agents, and she's $250 a month.
Wow. That's crazy.
And the quality of work is better. I know
I
that's for
believe it.
certain. So what
Yeah.
if I kind of get like I have an opportunity vehicle sitting at my disposal? If I just make a brand and I just say this is a marketing company now, and I just utilize the services that I'm already paying for, and I can now service small business owners and produce their graphics for them, an upsell, obviously, because I'm the middleman helping keep all this together and I have the relationship with the VA. Why
Mhm.
couldn't I tap into another revenue stream, such
Yeah.
as, social media marketing or helping with those kind of things? Because a lot of small businesses, they don't really have that. They don't have a handle on that.
No, no. I mean, dude, and what's beautiful about that versus our real estate companies is it's very difficult for us to expand our real estate companies nationally.
Hmm.
It's just like, what the hell? It's like, you're not going to do it. I mean, granted, small business marketing is very competitive nationally, so there is a
Yeah.
challenge there, but most people aren't really playing at an A game anyway.
Right. Well, there's a need. Like, think about all the mom and pop shops that are around town that have like archaic websites.
Yeah.
Like, my cousin, he's a part of like this crew where they take their side by sides, their off road vehicles, and they go to like 300 acres in like Oklahoma. They hang out, have a blast, camp out. They're just, breaking all their shit because that's just what you do whenever you drive those ATVs. You always break something, whatever. But they love it. That's their hobby. And he asked me, he said, "Hey, this guy owns this resort, they call it, but his
Hmm.
marketing sucks, dude. He doesn't care. Like, he's an older guy. They make a lot of money. They need help." And so he approached me with that, and they were about to go pay this company $3,000 a month to beef
Wow.
up their marketing. And dude, it's like their stuff is like on art, like the art like you get with like a normal PC, like you just load
Hmm.
up art and you can
Yeah.
like edit images with like the paintbrush, and like that's what they're using.
Damn.
They don't know about
Damn.
Canva.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I could just spend 30 minutes a day and just mess around on Canva and do it for them, and
Yeah.
hey, give
Yeah.
me $3,000, you know,
Yeah.
like those opportunities are out there. Like, how many businesses could utilize like just a little bit of what we know,
Right.
because they have the business figured out. They just don't have that piece, or they don't want to know it. And that comes back to our main point we were talking about, is being resourceful and just like realizing that there is a solution to your problem, and you just got to think a little harder about it.
Hmm.
I kind of hate the people that, no, I don't hate people, but it's just kind of like, you get that feeling when people say like, "Oh, I'm too old for technology." Oh,
Right.
I'm not, whatever. Like, they do
Right.
that kind
That
of thing, the
mindset.
humming and
Yeah.
hawing about it. And
Yeah.
so I just think that that's limiting, but that could be an advantage for somebody who wants to start a small hustle and just plug in Canva, and they think you're the greatest graphic designer that's ever walked the earth.
Yeah. Well, dude, it's like, and it's interesting too, the same way we think about how they think about, say, Canva. It's funny because, like, okay, so we're making, $250,000, $500,000 a year of income. Like, we're doing very well for ourselves, but we're not even we're just breaking into the, like, that top area. But we're still considered upper middle class.
Hmm.
And it's like, what is somebody that's 100 times above us, like, what do they think about what we're saying? And it's kind of cool to imagine, because hopefully in a couple of years we're gonna be there looking back at this shit and be like, man, we were thinking so small. Like, we were
Hmm.
talking about Canva, not like how do we like own the web services that Canva's using, or as a lame example.
Yeah, yeah, we're like toddlers, just like not making any sense talking to each other. That's probably
Yeah.
the drastic difference,
Yeah.
from their perspective.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I love that, dude. This is a lot of cool little topics we touched on.
Dude. Is that the pod?
I do. That's the pod, dude. That was
That's the
sick.
pod.
I love that. That was some good stuff,
Nice.
bro.
That was some good. That was good. I got some good notes too. All right. I'll
Yeah.
just keep this recording going because
Right. Cool.
um one thing I was thinking was I think just for like speed of show, neither of us, we both did this once. We don't need to apologize to each other for interrupting. I think it just
Mm,
adds like, if either one of us are like have something good, like if it's good, one of us should just lean in more, and whoever's like a little louder will like
Yeah.
get the conversation.
Allow a plow. Just
Yeah,
fucking
allow a
let it
plow. Yeah,
happen.
yeah. It's like if you got something great, dude, like if I said a word and you're like, you got it, like just run it.
Yeah. Because usually, if we're gonna interject, it's gonna be very short. Like,
Yeah.
I just got to
Yeah.
wrap up like a 5-second thing, and I just want to make a
Right.
point. Now you go. Like, not to
Yeah. Like
derail.
when you said Jack Links, I really wanted to interrupt you and be like, dude, the OG charcuteries, like the charcuteries for men, you know, they got the cheese and the thing. Like,
Yeah, exactly. I'm down. Yeah, let's do that. I think
that's
that's a good
nice.
little piece of feedback.
So, yeah. And that way, like, there's no like, oh, you go, because that just slows the conversation down.
Mm-hmm. I liked how you jumped right into story time, like right off
Mm-hmm.
the rip, like right into a topic. It just gets the momentum going in the podcast.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome. And then, I mean, just kind of like allowing things to just unfold. I think we did a very good job of that. I think
Yeah.
listening back, we'll probably realize it was good conversation.
Mm-hmm.
What else we got?
I notice I say the word like quite a bit. So the next pod, I'm going to like,
What are
there
you
it
gonna
is, dude. I'm going to type out no likes and put it on my screen just as a reminder.
What's a way to stop saying like?
Practice, dude.
Like why do people say
Reminders.
that? Why do people say like?
Filler words are
I gotta
tough, dude.
I gotta ask Kristen. She would probably know.
I
Why
think
do you
what
say
we could do too, I have a storytelling coach, or I used to. Maybe down the road when we're doing this, really doing this a lot, we could have somebody listen to this call with us and watch it. And just every week they give us feedback and be like, all right, Devin, this story, you told the same thing in two different ways. You probably could have just left it at one. And just because I have this theory that the more condensed we can deliver the same or better information, the better it will be for the audience.
Yeah.
It's like,
But
I
then
don't want,
also there's
I just don't
there's
want
time to
people
just
to,
freaking let a story go, dude. Like just keep
yeah,
it going. Like
yeah, there is times. Yeah. Which I don't know the difference. So,
yeah. Yeah. I guess it depends on the complexity of what you're about to talk about. If it's something
mhm,
that you have firsthand experience in and nobody else does,
yeah,
then you got to bring people up to speed, right?
right,
If you're talking about a shared experience, like, I was at a football game and, I had all my friends there, like whatever, people can start envisioning what that is like. But
right.
if you're like, dude, in my basement, it was so scary. And then
Yeah,
people are like, why? Just because basements are scary? It's like,
yeah,
what was special about your basement?
yeah.
You know?
Well,
I
I
think you got to
not
bring
so
a little
much
more
that
context.
context is definitely important, but more so one thing I learned or somebody told me about storytelling is a lot of people will say the same thing in their stories in different ways. And a good example I always think about is Tom Ferry. He's like, do you want to have more energy, excitement, enthusiasm this year? Dude, all of those are the same thing. You could have just left it so much harder. Are you looking to have more energy?
Hmm.
And it just lands better.
Yeah. You got the 3 E's there, though: excitement,
You do.
energy. What was the other
Yeah,
one? I don't know.
yeah.
But I
But
get
just,
it, dude. Yeah.
yeah. Notice it this week because I do it all the time, dude. I'll like over explain something.
True. Yeah, I don't know. I always try to think about like where does that come from? Like
Mm-hmm.
what insecurity is it that we're trying to patch up right there?
Okay.
Does it
We're
feel
just
like
not
people
professional
don't?
speakers. That's all.
Maybe so. I've been speaking my whole life, dude. Like, I don't know about you.
Yeah, you've been driving your whole life. Let me get you on a racetrack, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's levels to this stuff, right? Yeah, that's true. That's a great point. You did do a racetrack once, right? Didn't you
Yeah,
do
dude,
that?
it's so fun. It's so much fun. Yeah,
I want to do it because it's
yeah,
a different beast. Like,
bro. It's different. When I first showed up, actually, I'll tell you the story next week.
let's hear it. Yeah. I'm excited about that.
It's a
I got
good
a
one,
buddy
dude.
that he does dirt track racing, and we sponsor his car for real estate, and it's pretty cool. But yeah, you're just locked in. You're just like
Dude, it's something,
intense.
dude. It's something.
Feel the power.
All
All
right,
right.
tell me about the
So
kid.
okay, bro. So we got these accounts that are going viral based off of for every 1,000 followers, I'll do X. And so this kid's going to Thailand because he said, whatever my top comment says, liked comment says, I will do that. And it was like, go learn Muay Thai boxing, live in the mountains of Thailand, and fight in the UFC. Something bananas. And so, okay, so how do you bring a viral type like challenge to your content so you can grow your follower accounts? Just like the dog that for every 1,000 followers, I'm gonna pet my dog one time. Day one, dude, his dog got no pets. That's so sad. He only had like less than 1,000 followers.
Wait. Back to the dog. So he said, what did he say? He made a post that said
I will pet my dog one time for every 1,000 followers
on Instagram or something.
on Instagram on a reel. And literally, he went up to his dog day one and said, I only have 97 followers. And he takes his hand and he moves away from his dog. No.
Oh, no, he didn't. No, he didn't, dude.
He did, dude. And like, people
Oh,
were like, can't let that happen. Get that
bro.
corgi some pets.
Oh, dude, I'd instantly, dude.
Mhm.
I feel so bad.
I know. And so, like, okay, so that's a viral trend right now, right?
Yeah.
So trying to stack up on that. Now we talked about, okay, so if I get to 1,000 followers, I'll do X, like meaning a one-time thing. I'll pay for somebody's trip to this. I'll do that. Well, what happens when you hit 1,000 followers? You do that activity. What are your subscribers tuning into next time? You already did it.
Mhm.
So now they're like, somebody said, somebody did something similar where it wasn't a continuous challenge. It was when I do this, I'm done, essentially. And so somebody
Right.
said, I'm glad I caught you on day 5. I can unsubscribe now. Because they met it.
Oh, yeah.
They met the goal.
Yeah.
Like it was done.
It can't end. Yeah, it's gotta keep going. There
Mhm.
needs to
And-
be that
or-
progression.
Or it was like until I hit 1 million followers. Like this one guy, he did an ice bath challenge.
Yeah.
And he says, for every follower, I'll stay an extra second in my ice bath until I hit 1 million followers or I delete my account in a year. So it's 1 year, delete account if not at 1 million. Once you hit 1 million, he's completed the challenge.
Damn,
And so
dude.
he grew his
The
account to 1
stakes,
million within
dude,
like
the
6 months.
stakes.
Yet the stakes got to be high. And so that kind of stuff is really
good,
taken
dude.
off. How many
Wait,
back?
I saw one recently on Instagram called the conga lines, dude. It's the
Okay.
stupidest thing ever. Let me find it here. Dude, it's
Conga lines are
so dumb,
awesome.
dude. Project Conga Line, 10 posts, 1.5 million followers, started 10 days ago on Instagram.
Amazing.
10 posts. Dude, I've posted 600 videos and I'm at 40K subs or something like that on IG. 30,
Mhm.
20K. 10 fucking posts. And I'm telling you, dude, they're not fancy. We'll put it on screen. But here's what he does. He said, day 1 of putting my followers in a conga line until there is enough to wrap around the earth. And he like visualizes the earth and said, okay, I need to have 10 million people to wrap around the earth. And he shows like one person on the screen and showing they went 1 meter out of like
Mhm.
100 million meters or whatever. And then day 2, he had like 20,000 subscribers. And then he like visually put them in. Day 10, he showed that we're a quarter of the way around the earth now. And we're like, oh shit.
Yeah,
And I'm part of it, dude. I'm like, I'm follower number 3,000. Like, I'm fucking, I was
You're
there
in the
from
line.
the beginning, dude. I'm in the line. I'm in the conga line, dude. Around
See
the
that?
earth.
It's like, man, people are so like they're hacking like virality. Like what goes viral? What do
Yeah.
people tune into? And it's because it's like this reminds me a lot of what got me inspired into like engineering and how things work. You remember that show, How Things Work?
Oh, dude, that's my favorite. How it's made?
Or How It's Made. Yeah, How It's Made. That was
Dude,
it.
Yeah. The voice,
Uh-huh.
everything.
It's so good, dude. It's because you're just like so intrigued. Like, how did I get this in my hand? How did I get coffee in my hand?
Yeah.
They take you to the mountains in Colombia. You know what I mean? Like that's where it starts. And it
Yeah.
comes all the way down here to this. And then it's like, that stuff is so freaking interesting. And I think it's kind of hacking into that a little bit of like, I want to see somebody do something that just seems like just crazy, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But you're not putting yourself in harm's way. You're not like pulling pranks on people. So I
No,
think
no.
that's changed because you go viral back in the day by doing pranks.
Right. Right. It's different
Pranks
now.
aren't that much funny anymore. Like when people do
No,
pranks,
they're
you kind
not.
of like You're like, that's kind of mean.
It's
Like
a dick
that's
move, dude. Come on, don't be a dick.
maybe that's because the world's just getting soft. You know?
That's a whole nother conversation. Wait,
I
so
don't know.
all right, let's take this podcast.
Okay.
Let's just come up with, this is something I do with my team. Like, let's just come up with all the worst ideas or best ideas we can around like creating these stakes. Or for every subscriber to this channel, we will do blank to this new podcast. For every sub to the new podcast, for every sub.
Dude, it should be like every 1,000 subs. Well, okay, let's do 1 or 1,000. Let's maybe make 2 categories and kind of figure out like what fits in a little better.
Right. For every sub or X number of subs, we will blank.
I think it's got to kind of be like a physical thing. Like
Physical? Okay.
I think people like to see people suffer a little bit. One chick said, for every subscriber I get, I will run 1 centimeter or something like that.
Yeah.
And she ended up running like 3 miles by now, you know, 'cause she's gotten so many.
That's good.
And it's within a few days.
We could
Dude, the best part about it is they're like the cameraman, but because like somebody's following her, so the cameraman is in the challenge now too. Like now there's this whole like subreddit thing where people are like laughing about who's the cameraman, like who's the unlucky person that has to do this challenge with her. Like
for every 1,000 subs, we'll give one of our employees a paid day off. And you'll like see them, and it's like, today you get 0 days off.
Oh, we're not gonna have any employees,
dude. I know. Well, we'll have followers.
That's true too. Yeah. What's something like, because I always default to physical stuff, like, you know,
for every 1,000 subs, we'll hold a taser to ourselves for 1 second.
Yeah, to start off the podcast. But then just think about, can you do that for 10 minutes straight? You know,
I hope not.
We're borderline torturing ourselves. That could work. Or it's like
win's a win, bro.
Wall sits, dead hangs, pull ups. It could pull ups, dude. I don't know.
The pets are so nice though. The dog pets. That's so good.
Dude, it's good. He's got a corgi in there. Corgis go viral. Look at Dogecoin. You know what I mean? Like,
they do go viral.
Little things like that. But it's got to be just so simple, but also so visual as well. Like, it's got to be visually appealing.
Dude, what kind of blender do you have at your house?
I have 2 blenders. So
what kind of blender?
I got the bullet, the quick bullet.
Yep.
And then I got a Vitamix.
You got okay. So I could get a Vitamix. For every 1,000 subscribers, we'll make it the same, a smoothie, a breakfast smoothie. And for every 1,000 subs, we'll add whatever the top comments ingredient is.
Oh my God. No.
So we'll start with like a strawberry milk, dude. And it's like, all right, whatever. If we get another sub, we'll add ginger. Now we add beer. Now we add this, and we'll drink it, dude. And it's like a death cup. Smile, dude. We'll be like, it's the best thing I've ever had.
It's like a death cup at like a fucking
death cup.
Party.
Yeah, basically.
Oh, I'm just thinking, I'm like, I'm gonna discover an allergy I didn't know I had, and I'm gonna die on this podcast. like they're gonna throw in some dragon fruit or something crazy, you know, and I'm gonna like, somebody's gonna say, put some dog shit in there, like, you know, like, where do we draw the line with that? You know, I'd rather it be something that I can relatively control. You know, like, I want a little bit of control in that.
I mean, dude, the feeling though that you just had of like, oh, that's what gets views, bro.
It is.
I'm not saying we should do it. Also,
no. Okay.
If we were doing a fitness podcast, like the workout and the stuff and that diet makes more sense. But we're doing business and money and like mindset, and so I think it needs to be more related to that somehow.
Oh, what if it was all right, random idea. For every 1,000 followers, I will go panhandle $1.
Panhandling, yeah.
I'll and then it's like you get up to like, you know, I mean, okay, now I got to go get fucking. How much would you get 1,000 followers and you get up to 1 million? What is that? That's 10,000. No?
Right. Yeah. 1,000. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't
So
want us to like take. I want us to give.
no, and then I would give that money to the
Oh, and
homeless
then you
person.
give it to someone else. Like you're their co-panhandler. You help them panhandle. You like
Or you have to
sponsor.
or you have to go give it to like a rich person. Like I don't know, like go
Ah,
give it to like a weird twist to it. Go into a
right,
business and find the owner and give him the money. Like I
right.
don't know. Or help out a small business.
Yeah. Or
Um
you like
that
you
could be
find like
better.
a homeless guy and you start like a 401k for him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Get him in a good Roth IRA.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, what could you do? What are some other things? Like
Like business and
mm,
mindset, because that's our niche, right? Like in a way, if like
yeah.
personal stuff, business mindset.
Yeah. It's like you could do I want to suffer? Do I want to like pet my dog? You know what I mean? It's like, do I want to
Yeah.
fucking choke on something and
Yeah.
die of a random illness, or do I want to give my cat some fucking like little scratches,
Right.
like the like two different ways, or do I start a digital Congo line? You know,
Yeah.
like
I mean,
what
dude, the
if I?
Vitamix is easy. It's
It
not
is, but it's
like we if it's cat poop, we're obviously not going to do that. But like
yeah.
it's like strawberries and ginger and like rice. It's like ugh. It's like
You're expecting these followers to be
anything
nice,
that's
dude.
edible, anything that's edible. Tuna.
I'm thinking of like okay, so they have to like, share, subscribe, and be a part of our Patreon channel before they can give suggestions. So it's like
Sure.
they got to be a paid verified member
Yeah.
before user 648 comes on with like an Elmo picture in his profile and says like piss in it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And
yeah,
everybody
yeah,
likes it.
yeah. Right,
You know,
right.
like a little bit of like a gatekeeper
Yeah.
situation.
I
Well,
mean,
okay, hold
we
on.
can put like a little rule is like it's got to be edible. And I'm not
Yeah,
drinking my
I mean,
piss or eating my poop.
Anyth anything's edible if you're brave enough. There's this guy called, Chugs, what's his name? Dude, he's a gangster. He's on YouTube. Chugs, jeez, what's his name? But he goes around and does these chugging challenges, dude, and,
Oh.
he's a big dude. Badlands. Badlands Chugs. I mean, I don't know if I wanna, like get in this world because it's crazy. I don't know. I
Mm.
don't know. I probably don't want to share my screen. But Badlands Chugs, that dude, he is a beast, a unit. Um, like I don't know, chugging.
Well, I mean, this is good. Like us, like doing a little challenge like this is smart, even if we do it for 30 days. And then choosing relevant topics for the podcast is also great. Like we can do all this stuff and we can start with over the course of the year, we could do like 4 or 5 different little challenges like this for a month.
True, true. I think so. I'm gonna brainstorm a little more because I want to think through some things that could fit into it. Where it's like, let's say if we had an element where things appear in our in the podcast studio setup,
Mhm.
like for every 1,000 followers I'll do this, I'll have this here.
Right.
um or it's like, how about for every 1,000 subs I'll put um maybe I'll do um shit, I'll do $1 posted on the wall, I'll tack $1 there, and when we end the month I'll give it to a subscriber.
That's a good idea. Did we talk about that ever? Like writing our subscribers' names?
No,
Um I
that
mean
could be
there's the
something.
like too bad it's not daily cuz I feel like the dailiness of this is what helps.
Yes, it's
But
got to be
although if we
that.
have an
So
Instagram account and we like send them to our YouTube, so it's Instagram and YouTube Shorts, and our
mhm.
YouTube account is like the Devin David podcast or whatever we call it, like they'll know it's a podcast and subscribe.
Yeah, yeah, I think yeah, how does it tie to the podcast versus like, because dude, you make good point, it's got to be daily. Like people are going to want to tune in every day to see what's up.
I mean,
And did
dude,
they grow?
if we send for every 1,000 subscribers, we send a Venmo to somebody. We send $1 to a subscriber. And
Okay.
then so we get 1,000 subs. So then we get 10,000 subs, and that's $10. That's whatever.
Yeah, bro. Okay, so like okay. I think one thing's for certain, we need to have a viral type aspect to it. There's a trend going on where it's like every day I'm gonna do X, depending on how many subscribers I get.
Yeah,
And then a component of it where it's like, you know, if I hit 1 million subscribers, then this happens. Or in a year, if I don't, I delete the account. I delete the account altogether. Like that
that's
kind of
good.
thing goes a long
Those
ways.
stakes are nice.